Levi, good to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you.
It's interesting because the script to screen journey really interests me, right? So we're talking about Before Dawn, and I'm just curious, you're reading the script for this, you're getting the character, breakdown and everything, and then you
Mhm.
actually go and film it. What's that journey like for you specifically on this movie?
Sure, sure. So I read the script. I don't know the exact amount of years before, but I talking to Jordan about it for a few years. And he supplied some diary entries as well. So I was able to have both mix of the script and also the diary entries that sort of inspired the characters and a bit of the journey. Um, and that was a pretty pivotal part for me, having the journals, like the being able to know, okay, this is a headspace I can see kind of a little bit more fleshed out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Whether you've been on a set one time or thousands of times, you're always going to learn something new from a storytelling acting perspective. Can you share some kind of learning experiences from a craft perspective, storytelling perspective on Before Dawn?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think there's two-part. I think it's that one, uh, like being around, like I haven't really done something where it's been, a like pretty group of boys, if that makes sense, like
Yeah,
like a group of
like a big
lads
ensemble
every
cast.
scene
Absolutely.
with
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah, yeah. So having them and listening to them and seeing like where their heads at and everyone just sort of talking about it was great, which I've had on other productions as well, but seeing that was great. And also just the grit of making it through, like the muddiness, the heavy uniforms, the wet feet, like having to have that and use that and not be like, my feet are so wet, I need to go put them in front of a fire for
yeah.
10 minutes just to, push through it was a big thing.
And it's interesting. It's a good segue. So much happens and there's so much to do before you go to camera on Before Dawn, right? There's a lot of discussions, preparation, everything. So from an acting storyteller perspective, Levi, you can see it as two journeys, right? Before filming and then after filming, or do you
Mhm.
see it as one big journey with multiple steps? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I think I like the three journey thing where it's like there's the beforehand
Yeah.
where it's everything is sort of kind of up in the air. You're getting an idea of what your character is and what your journey is, and
Yeah.
then the shooting of it, which is uh like for the actor is like the part that feels like the most, I guess, abrasive. Like it's the part where you're in the thick of it kind of
Mhm.
thing. And then the after the fact. Um I don't know, the after the fact is interesting because the journey for me definitely happens during and before. But
Mhm.
that third part is yeah, yeah, it's
Are you
interesting.
ever I feel like the answer to this question is like no, or you try not to. But like a movie like this where, it's really intense, right? So the audience members watching is this intensity throughout the whole film.
Yes.
Um, are you ever conscious of the audience member watching a film like Before Dawn while you're making it, or does that kind of happen after you wrap?
I think it's like, for me at least, it's in the back of the head for
Hmm.
sure. Like you're always thinking, at least in my case, it's
Hmm.
like I know your feet are soaked and your legs are everything, but you got to keep running here because this is like they don't know that your putties, the things you wrap around your legs are coming off. Like that, the micro stuff that
Yeah.
the audience member doesn't know, but like I'm certainly got that in my head.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just curious because you look at a lot of your amazing work before this. How separate are past projects versus something like this? Like, do you bring things from stuff like Better Watch Out and Wrinkle in Time to something like Before Dawn, mindset wise, perspective wise, or are they completely separate once you wrap?
Sure, I think it's like a lesson is like learned and built up in the subconscious
Hmm.
during each film, and then the new one starts for me, and it feels like a separate journey. Like
Hmm.
this is um, yeah, a new journey
It's always going to
completely.
be Levi
But
Miller
at the same
playing these
time, you're taking
characters.
lessons that
It's always going to be
what's
you
that?
playing these characters, right? So it's like you do,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But then you also got to disconnect and be like, well, this is a new person. This is a
Mhm.
completely new person that you contribute to. But yeah.
Better Watch Out is one of my favorite horror movies. And I'm just saying, man, I love
Oh,
that movie so much. You know what?
thank
Because that
you.
movie,
Thank you.
you can watch that at the holiday season, and you can watch it in the spooky season. You've crossed over, Levi.
Thank you. I just watched it last Christmas for the first time in a few years. Yeah, no, it's definitely
so
a
good.
little mix
Ed
up.
was in this. I've interviewed Ed too. He's also in that. Oh, so good. Oh man, like I know, because it's like I didn't see it coming at all, to be honest, in that film. That was one of those films
Yeah?
where I had no idea your character was gonna be like that. I'm just saying that was well
The flip?
done. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just kind of wanted to ask too, like similar to what I just asked you. I mean, like it's all storytelling at the end of the day, genres and everything. It's pretty cool to look back though and look at this and look at things you've done. You've been able to kind of dive into all those different worlds and different kind of genres. Is that one of your favorite things about being a storyteller? Diving into all these different worlds,
Thank you.
these different characters?
I think so. Definitely like the diversity of storytelling is very, very interesting, and the different characters you can step into is definitely the most fun part of it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I know.
For sure. Yeah, it's always a great experience.
And is it one of those things too, or depending on, like, I'm just curious about the pace of filming Before Dawn, because you kind of started this interview talking about how so many factors and like keep running and the uniforms and everything. Was it kind of, was there an overall pace of filming this movie, or was it kind of some days felt slower than others, quicker than others? Like, what was the pace like for you specifically?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a mix. It's, when you're looking back, because we shot it in 2021, so like it's, when you remember stuff, you always sort of group it into a kind of category. In my head, I remember it being quite intense, fast moving, but there were also moments, like very fun moments that I remember with, like, because the principal boys were all staying in the same house, and so we'd come home and play a board game, eat some pizza, just lounge for a bit, and like those moments as well where it just slows down. Yeah, I also remember. So yeah, a mix, but definitely the grit.
Absolutely. Sure. And in select theaters and on digital July 19th via Wellgo USA. That is Before Dawn. Levi, so great chatting with you. Thanks so much for your time, man.
Thank you. It was wonderful. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.